Okay, so welcome to everybody here this evening, Canada time, morning, Korea time. We're here to have a conversation with our Korean colleagues from various universities in the Republic of Korea entitled Navigating Geopolitics, the Republic of Korea's Economic and Security Landscape. We're so delighted to have these eminent research leaders and scholars join us from Korea this evening. Professor Min Woo Yun is a full professor at the Department of Police Science and Security Studies at Gakcheon University in the Republic of Korea. His research focuses on the emerging future war driven by artificial intelligence and unmanned military platforms, as well as military reform in South Korea and the national cybersecurity strategy and governance in the country. Dr. Yoon Kim is an associate professor in the Department of Policing and Crime Investigation at the Catholic Kwangdong University. Her current
Okay.
research interests focus on transformative technologies, emerging hybrid threats to governance, and government countermeasures for national security as it pertains to South Korea. She also looks at lessons from the Ukraine-Russia conflict and implications for the use of transformative technologies in hybrid warfare. And Dr. Youngin Lee is a distinguished scholar and researcher specializing in cybersecurity, national strategy, and emerging technologies, currently serving as a senior fellow at multiple prestigious institutions within Seoul National University. Dr. Lee has established himself as a leading voice in cyber AI security research and policy analysis. His interdisciplinary approach combines expertise in international relations, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence to address complex security challenges facing the Korean Peninsula and the broader international community. So, good evening to all of you. Thanks so much for joining us. I'd like to turn to some questions that I would love to put to the three of you. And I want to start with Korea's current economic priorities. And you all come with security lenses, but of course, we are dealing today with a lot of dual usage technologies in this transformative technology world. And I'd like to hear a little bit about Korea's economic priorities and how the security economic agenda is working in terms of diversifying trade partners and pushing for high-level manufacturing. So who would like to take that question? Minwoo, can I put that to you?
Okay. Well, originally, previously, South Korea's economic policy is you know, economy, we are cooperating with China. But for the security, we are cooperating with US. So we call this is 안미 경중. It's a security US and economy China. Well, I guess we have kept this approach for almost 20 years, more than 20 years. But more and more nowadays, we are realizing this is an impossible challenge because today technology is a dual use, basically military and civilian matters. So we can no longer hold this position. So we are more and more realizing we have to choose. Economy and security has to go together. So more and more Korean scholars and the public realize China is main security threat to Korea. That's why we have this extremely high percentage of population have this anti-Chinese sentiment based on quite recent public polls. And some people even argue North Korea, comparing with the North Korea, China is the number one security threat to South Korea. So we trying to rescale our economic stance. So we try to diversify our economic ties with other countries. So of course we are working with the U.S. and Canada and Australia and but Japan also. But we don't have much thing to share with those advanced countries. So we are trying to look at Southeast Asia, especially Vietnam or Indonesia. And so we have this, low wage labor force, and we need to switch our factories around. That's what we are doing. But we don't have much options because that's the only reason we can look at. Well, we have this gas and the oils and these natural resources. We may get that from Russia. Russia is quite good in alternative options. However, because of this Russo-Ukrainian war, so this Russian route is completely disconnected for a while. But Koreans are still looking for Russia is quite, okay alternative to China. Well, I don't know many Westerners realize or not, China and Russia cannot go together for long because Russia actually, they think China is the number one threat in this region because this narrow Russian territory called Primorie, it's including Vladivostok, and China claim those area is their own territory. So they try to get that, they try to get it back in the future. Russia is really afraid of it. So Russia thinks South Korea is a proper economy cooperative partner. We also know that, but we are in part of this Western world, so it's our hurdles. North Korea, of course, is it's very difficult for us. So we are caught in between. We don't have much options. So that's why in economic side as well, we really need our Western friends support and cooperations. So, but we are trying. It's a difficult, but we are trying to diversify. That's what we are doing.
Thank you very much. Yun Young, what would you say to that? What's going to have to be Korea's secret moving forward?
Well, we have put. I'm not also expert in the like uh, politics, so I'm not very good at the insight on that though. But um, actually have put we our economic depend on the like expert actually, so we need to put more like R&D to develop to the emerging technology things, and then we also have to diversify our like trading partnership. So that I mostly agree with what the Dr. Yoon said about this too. That's it.
Dongjing, anything on
Welcome.
the economic security agenda and um,
Um, yeah, we have to think about seriously our like supply chain security steps. So actually, when I was in the defense command counterintelligence command, we have focused on how we like really cooperate with like U.S. Army in terms of like supply stuff uh which is connected with like military weapons and the systems and for the security and the defense. So we developed like J like KCCC and then like risk management framework model, which really which is one of our like step and measure to protect our like a supply chain, which is this is not a really big governance approach though, but this is more like a detailed and specific approach that we have to adapt. So we uh, we need to consider to develop some kind of like a more sophisticated law and policy to protect our supply chain.
Yes,
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 that's it.
indeed. John Jin, come in and talk about, you've done a lot of work on artificial intelligence and looking at sovereign large language models, etc. So tell us about the contribution Korea's making from this perspective.
Well, I think in my some viewpoints, the Republic of Korea has some enough technology power strength, but we we are in some strategic some dilemma position. So we have a strong some alliance and some opponents in China. Also, we have strong alliance in the United States. So we need some likely minded like some Canada and some UK. So we are using some AI technology or some bio some technology. So we have connected some other some likely mind or some middle power nations states. So I think this is some we need some tailored measures to address this kind of some dilemma. So I think the AI technology is a good solution for that. So we need some separate some sectors and some domestic and international levels. So we make some many multiple layers for that. So this some complicated or complex some strategy is can some adapt to this kind of some dilemma. So that's it. So thank you.
Minwoo, can you come in on that point, the technologies and artificial intelligence, you're doing, and Korea's pushed forward with a number of agenda in this area, and yet you're looking for middle power partnerships as well. So can you unpack that a little bit more?
Sure. Uh, because the AI some whole supply chain system has some separate some pieces or process. That means some countries can make some semiconductor and make some data to learn, and also they have make some data center for that. So we separate some whole global supply chains, and each state has get their duty or their responsibility. So that means we make some AI alliance or some supply chain for safety and national security. That means this strong some alliance is good for each state or also each for some safety of some global AI ecosystem. So
Minwoo, can you say anything about the the lessons and good practice that Korea has experienced thus far in this area?
Well, actually, I agree with Dr. Lee, what he just said. And last autumn, I went to Australia to talk with Australian experts, and they are facing similar dilemma, like we're facing. The South Korea, like South Korea, Australia is a junior partner to US. So when they directly deal with the US, they are always, the weaker position. So Australia, but these days, US, has their own agenda, especially under Trump administration. It's difficult to cooperate. So Australia was looking for the partners like junior countries like Japan, South Korea, and if what Australian experts said was when Australia strongly works with Japan and South Korea, and then these three countries can have this negotiating power dealing with the U.S., then we can actually lead these Western alliances countering against China. I think that Canada faces similar position. But for us, and we have same dilemma. We cannot directly negotiate with U.S., but it's difficult to work with Japan. And South Korea and Japan, only two countries, can work together. It may create great synergy, but it's extremely difficult. It's a cultural problem, historical issues, and territorial issues. So Canada, Australia, Japan, and South Korea put us together. Then the Canada and Australia may make a smooth relationship between Japan and South Korea, and then have great negotiating power to deal with the U.S. Then we can build up this. I think that's what I get from Jongjin's idea.
Thank you, thank you. And what about the other two, Yang Yin and Yun Young? I'd love to hear more about, President Trump recently announced that he was applying 25% tariffs on South Korea unless it conceded in further areas beyond that which you have already made concessions to Trump on and in his previous term as president. So, in a region where trust is so embedded in the cultural fabric, what is the reaction through your scholarly lens? And should we start with Yun Young?
I don't read this thread on not only this economic only it has Trump only has the economic purpose to impose 25% tariff on our economic trading. So we have to read his intention in terms of international security and hybrid threats. So our government has to express what we have to understand what Trump really wants to when he when he just proposed 25% tariff. So this is really to win the political stance point of our new government. So I think we have to have an approach not only in terms of economic or export things in terms of export things, but also a political a standpoint. Which is this is we it has been so-called a new Cold War, and then which side we have to stand, and which whether we are really still hold on together with so-called like-minded countries. So I think this is our first step that we have to express, and then next one then well. The other point is I don't think that's not my expertise, so I'm not really really cautious to express what I can tell. So yes, probably Dr. Lee can say about this
Okay, so
further.
Thank you. So Dr. Lee, tell us what you feel about, and maybe we could push this a little bit more to say a bit about what we could do together. So what would like-minded we've heard about supply chains, supply chain resilience, stronger negotiating power. Where would those logical connections be found, do you think? Like between a country like Canada and South Korea?
I think the first of all is data. It's the data that is centered to the AI technology. So with it's a collection of data and some process of data, and that means that we make our data centers for each countries, and also we verify and some checks or other tested over quality of data. That means that we include some English letters, English language and Korean language and other some Asian languages. That means that it's kind of we are some basis for some language model. So I think the first some option is data, and I think the second is for semiconductors. So it's NVIDIA, some develop or some manufacturers, or they are some high level some semiconductor. But still, this world, this global some industries need some mid-size or low level size level some semiconductors also. So we collaborate with that some develop or manufacture to the middle level some semiconductors. That means that semiconductors is for some mobile or some smart car, and also other some process some other device like some computer and laptop and smartphone. So focus on some middle level, not high, because some United States government is focused on some high level. There is a conflict with some United States and some China, but we still have our own position on some middle level some size. So we need to focus on that size.
Yes, because we arguably have a different regulatory sandbox as middle powers as well, rather than the great powers. Minwoo,
Yes.
let me bring you into this question on like how can we cooperate? We've heard about semiconductors, we've heard about data. When you think about a country like Canada and Australia, where do you think we can come together for that strength?
Well, first of all, we should not compete with each other. So we try to adjust what Canada does and what Australia do and what South Korea do and what Japan do, and then this Switzerland also, like EU countries, and for cyberspace and including AI and all these semiconductors, whatever. We also need to protect this infrastructure, such as underwater, the cables, satellite, and we are cut in between. US and China, they ask us, choose their own. And the situation today is we cannot, choose both. We have to choose one side or the other. So, but that totally, that makes us very vulnerable. Relying on a certain country for our data and infrastructure and all this. So for that, we can work together. And developing this, satellite, systems and protecting underwater, cables, and also, electricity infrastructure, and then also we research together and joint military exercise and on these areas, So maybe we can work together to, making this, unmanned military platforms, like the European countries work together, because we have this limited resources and limited manpower, so we have to be wise. So that's what we
So leveraging our
together.
strengths, right?
Yeah.
Leveraging our collective strengths.
Yes.
And what, can I just ask you one more question? What kind of discussion forum might this conversation happen in? Does ASEAN have a role? Is this going to have to be a coalition of the willing, bilateral agreements, under a summit arrangement that's new? What are your thoughts on where this discussion takes place and how?
Well, ASEAN could be unreliable. That's my point of view. It's a personal opinion, because they have to rely on China. Well, of course, they can be with us, but internal politics and their cultures, and it's quite difficult. So I think four countries, the Canada, Australia, South Korea, and Japan, these four countries should be this quadrilateral the alliance. you know, and create this, you know, cooperative power, and then, you know, making negotiating with U.S. and then you know, we become like equal partners to U.S. and you know, making this you know, robust, strong, you know, more robust Western you know, alliance, and check and balance against China. That doesn't mean we have to go to war, but we need to contain China. Otherwise, you know, the free democratic civilization, you know, it's in danger.
It's under threat. We're going to come back to China in a minute. I want to go to you, Yun Young, and ask you, because you look at national security and different threats and cognitive security threats, etc. What do you think are the biggest threat vectors facing the Republic of Korea at the moment?
Actually, I have conducted several research about this one, and we are actually this is my opinion though, but we are under like influence operation attack by the like Chinese government. Like we don't have like imminent threat by the like non-state like factors, you know, like for like you know what United States or a Western country has to, you know, deal with. But we our like traditional enemy adversary is like North Korea, and many of the South Korean does not really recognize do not recognize it, but China actually uh has been under operation again to our like public opinion in South Korea for like a decade. That's what I really found out from my like in empirical research that I conducted last year. This is what like on the review for now. I have studied like I have collected data from our like one of the biggest like data platform neighbor comment, and then I found out there's some kind of evidence that they have been conducted this kind of like disinformation operation or like in a fake news in a activity for about like more than 17 years. And then so this is like my there's a lot of like um like argument that the election of this 2025 has been flawed or something happens. So our country is under like a lot of like social polarization and some kind of like unrest, you know, between the like political between among our like you know people in terms of like politics and economics, and even further like there's like a lot of like you know conflict between the like generations and like gender also too. So we need more like evidence so far though, but in I and my co-authors believe that this kind of like a social unrest and like disagreement and the polarization is a kind of like result of like long time long time of like influence operation. This is undergone by like Chinese government uh or like agencies or sort of like proxy entities. So one the biggest threat of our like cognitive South Korea's cognitive security is the presence of like CCP. Actually, their like intention to extend their like political influence on our country, and then this and then the advanced technology, like a transformative technology, AI or like whatever else, it actually that promoted this kind of like a threat more like in a uh, rapidly and more like seriously. And then as you know that our ICT like infrastructure is really strong and fast, and everyone has to connected at any time and real time 24 hours. So this is also very like this is one of our actually strongest for our new 21st century, but at the same time it's a weakness in our like hybrid threats. And then we have I think someone who I really want to attack the side in a cognitive weakness maybe figured out somehow the vulnerability of our peoples in terms of like a psychological point of view or like a social like in a point of view. So this is I think in terms of like cognitive issues, we are under the quite we have been under the like quite massive attack, not only for the like psychological attack by the like disinformation operation, but also like economically, and then like some other like like a political like in a point in a politically yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
that
Thank you. No, I'd like to continue on that theme, go to Zhongjing. Could you and Min Woo wrap up the session by commenting on this, but also South Korea's current government and any relationship or pragmatic approach that it is trying to take with China at the moment, whilst you're caught between these two great powers?
Well, well, first I try to add some few more Chinese practices in Korea. And Chinese made AI called DeepSeek. Is actually designed to propagandize the Chinese way of thinking and Chinese civilizational superiority over us. Well, over. It's made by Chinese Communist Party direction. We found out recently. Yeah, I cannot tell you detail because it's security issues, but we found some evidence. Then also we also found a number of fake news sites just look similar to South Korean news agencies. They are running on website and they are distributing fake news or distorted news. So I can say abundant evidence of Chinese influence operation. And the current regime, it's very it's arguable to tell, but some scholars say there are some suspicions, some politicians or journalists or scholars, they are strongly related to Chinese agents, either government or civilians. It's all government. So I cannot. I don't want to say they are spies, but they are influenced by Chinese actor. And the current regime, well, they can continue on a strong alliance with the US because that's the basic foundation of modern day South Korea. So without US alliance, and I think a great majority of the South Korean public, will strongly disagree. So current regime has to pay attention to this public sentiment. Also for Korean security, we strongly relied on the US, even stronger than what most civilian experts or public think. because our South Korean military cannot conduct warfare by ourselves, because for so many years our military operation is based on U.S. Operational guidance and intelligence. So it's U.S. Army and South Korean Army is quite strongly symbiotic. Well, on appearance, South Korean military is quite strong. We have very advanced weapons, and we have large size of army. We have great missiles and this, but military operation need this software like operation strategy and tactics and intelligence operation and supply operation, all these. It's we have no experience to do it by ourselves. So current government, in conclusion, strong current government, current regime, they cannot disconnect relationship with the US. But I think comparing to previous regime, they will look for more cooperative relationship with China. So they have a dilemma in this. So that's why you can see what the current regime will go for, because it's not clear, because they are caught in between. It's interesting to watch.
Yes, and something which will become even more difficult if some of the demands for concessions are based on the scaling back of the relationship with China. John Jin, finish us off. We've asked lots of questions over the last couple of minutes on US pressures, threat vectors that Korea faces at the moment, and potential for a different kind of pragmatic relationship with China. What would be your comments on those issues, or even some of them?
Actually, the two professors already said we are working in a thin line between some two big or huge countries, but we have to find our solution or find ways to address this kind of some situations. So I think some China and the United States has their own some fight for some global hegemony. So we need some use this opportunity. So we using this opportunity because that opportunity means we are our another some opportunity means we can use we are the United States and China using some their geopolitical some power, but we have also that kind of some power. So we collaborate with some Asian regions, some countries, so Japan and Taiwan and other some Indonesian and some other some countries. Also, we connected to some Americas, Northern Americas, and also the South Americas. That means we connected each other globally. So we have the many some security threats, kind of cognitive warfares and hybrid warfares, but also we have some other some cyber attacks from the malicious actors. That means that we can use these opportunities. We have to share the intelligence globally. So we select or we have to choose our some important alliance for some information sharing and some information alliance. That means Canada and Korea has same some target or same objectives for that. So we have to some narrow our target or some objectives. So that means just we need some collaboration, some partnership. This is some genuine or general some objectives. So we focus on some specific themes like some cyberbullying or some gender issues on cyberspace, that means that there is a universal themes for some globally. That means that we can easily make some our partnership and make an agenda or make a summit. So we start from that specific themes to some broader issues because we think each other and understand and trust. That is kind of some steps. We cannot jump, lift some strict steps. Just we take steps of one step to two step. That we start from specific norm or specific themes for that.
Well, thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation, and it really helps provide some foundational, very important foundational knowledge for our community on Korea and what sort of economic security challenges, but also opportunities Korea faces at the moment, how a middle power country like Canada features in that, and also how great power countries are considered and analyzed. So I think really I'll conclude by saying I think countries like Canada and Korea have a lot in common. And your research leadership on these issues brings a really great lens to shed some light on issues like these. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Well, tonight our time, daytime your time, and we hope that we can carry on the conversation and work together more in the spirit of what you've just said, bridging the scientific community, bridging civil society, and not competing, but leveraging our strengths for a broader multilateral collective good.